Have you ever stood up for what you believe in, only to be laughed at? This is what happened to Emma, a 17-year-old high school student who simply brought her reusable bags to the grocery store. As other shoppers rolled their eyes and made rude comments, Emma felt small and embarrassed. But sometimes, unexpected allies appear when we need them most. Before we continue with this powerful story about environmental awareness and standing up for what's right, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Please let us know in the comments so we can bring more stories that connect with you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our upcoming stories. Now let's hear directly from Emma as she shares her experience at West Side Market last Saturday afternoon. Here's Emma in her own words.
It's Saturday afternoon at West Side Market, the busiest grocery store in town. I'm standing in the produce section, carefully selecting some apples and placing them in my colorful cloth bag. My name is Emma Chen, and I'm a junior in high school. Unlike most shoppers around me who use plastic bags for everything, I bring my collection of reusable bags every time I shop. I pick up a bunch of bananas and think, Mom said to get the ones that are still a little green so they'll last all week. As I place them in my bag, I notice an older woman watching me. She shakes her head slightly and turns to her husband. "Look at this girl with all these fancy bags," she says loudly. "In my day, we just used what the store gave us and didn't make such a fuss." My cheeks instantly feel hot. I try to ignore her comment and move to the next dot in the bread section. I'm checking my shopping list when I hear another voice behind me. "Those hippie bags just slow everyone down at checkout," a man in his 40s tells his teenage son. "Plus, you forget them half the time anyway. What's the point?" I stare at my shopping list, but I'm not really reading it anymore. I think, maybe I should just use plastic bags like everyone else. Why am I making my life harder? But then I remember the sea turtle video we watched in environmental science class, with plastic wrapped around its shell, and I straighten my shoulders and continue shopping. By the time I reach the checkout line, my cart is full, and I have 4 different reusable bags ready. I unload my items onto the conveyor belt and smile at the cashier, a woman about my mom's age with a name tag that reads Diane. "I have my own bags," I tell her. Diane nods and starts scanning my groceries. Behind me in line, I hear someone sigh loudly. I glance back and see a well-dressed woman in her 60s tapping her foot impatiently. "Oh, great," she says to no one in particular. "Now we'll be here forever while she stuffs everything in those ugly bags." The man behind her laughs. "Yeah, saving the planet one grocery trip at a time." Meanwhile, China dumps tons of plastic in the ocean every day. My hands shake slightly as I open my first bag. I think, just ignore them, get through checkout and go home. Diane gives me a sympathetic look as she hands me my receipt. "Don't worry about them, honey," she whispers. As I start loading my bags, I accidentally drop one of my apples. It rolls across the floor, stopping at the feet of a woman I hadn't noticed before. She's in her mid-30s, with curly black hair, pulled back in a practical ponytail. She picks up the apple and walks over to hand it to me. "Thanks," I mutter, embarrassed by all the attention. "No problem," she says with a kind smile. Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, she adds, "I like your bags. I bring mine every time too." The impatient woman behind me rolls her eyes. "Well, aren't you too special? The rest of us have actual jobs and responsibilities that don't leave time for playing environmental superhero." The curly-haired woman turns to face her. She doesn't look angry, just confident. "Actually, I understand your frustration. Change is hard, and it can feel inconvenient." She pauses and takes a deep breath. "I'm Dr. Melissa Rivera. I work at the Marine Research Center on Lake Michigan. I just came from documenting plastic pollution in our local waterways." The line goes quiet. Even the cashier stops scanning for a moment. Dr. Rivera continues. "Yesterday, I pulled 14 plastic grocery bags from a section of shoreline less than half a mile long. Last month, we removed a plastic bag from the stomach of a dead fish. The week before that, we found a duck tangled in plastic bag handles." She doesn't raise her voice or sound preachy. She just states these facts in a calm, matter-of-fact way. "The average American uses about 365 plastic bags per year," she explains. "Most are used for less than 30 minutes before being thrown away. And despite what you might have heard, less than 10% actually get recycled." The impatient woman shifts uncomfortably. "Well, What difference does it make if just a few people use reusable bags? Dr. Rivera smiles. Every single plastic bag not used matters to the wildlife it would have harmed. But you're right that individual action isn't enough. That's why it's also important to create a culture where reusable bags are normal, not something to mock. I feel a surge of gratitude toward this woman who's defending me. I finish packing my groceries and push my cart to the side, but I stay to listen. Dr. Rivera opens her purse and pulls out a small stack of photos. These are from our latest research trip. Would you like to see? Several people in line, including the impatient woman, hesitantly step forward. I can't see the photos from where I'm standing, but I watch their faces change as they look at each image. That was in Lake Michigan? Someone asks. Not the ocean? Dr. Rivera nods. Right here in our backyard. Every piece of plastic ever produced still exists somewhere on this planet. It doesn't biodegrade. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. The man who had complained earlier rubs the back of his neck. I had no idea it was that bad locally. You always hear about the oceans, but the Great Lakes contain 20% of the world's fresh surface water. Dr. Rivera explains. They're crucial ecosystems, and they're suffering from the same plastic pollution as our oceans. She looks around at everyone. I'm not here to shame anyone. I forgot my bags plenty of times before it became a habit, but seeing what I see every day at work, it changes you. Several people nod. Diane, the cashier, speaks up. We sell reusable bags for just $1. They last for years. The impatient woman looks at the plastic bags already holding her groceries, and then glances at my colorful cloth bags. For a moment, she seems torn. Maybe next time, she finally says, but her tone is different now, less dismissive. Dr. Rivera puts her photos away. That's all any of us can do. Try to do better next time. She turns to me and says, thanks for bringing your bags today. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about doing something good. I feel my chest swell with pride. Thank you for speaking up. I tell her. As I push my cart toward the exit, I hear someone call, excuse me. I turn to see the impatient woman hurrying toward me, looking slightly embarrassed. I'm sorry about what I said, she says. That was unkind of me. I'm so surprised that for a moment I can't speak. Then I manage to say, it's okay. Thank you for saying that. She nods and returns to her place in line. As I walk out to the parking lot, I notice Dr. Rivera loading her groceries into her car a few spaces away. All in reusable bags, of course. Thanks again. I call to her. You really knew what to say to them. She smiles. Sometimes people just need information, not judgment. Keep bringing those bags, Emma. You're making a difference. As I load my groceries into my mom's car, I notice something unexpected. The man who had complained about hippie bags is now at the store entrance, purchasing a reusable bag from a display near the door. His teenage son stands beside him, looking slightly impressed. I feel a smile spread across my face. Maybe change happens. One person, one bag, one moment at a time.
So that was Emma's story. A reminder that sometimes standing up for what's right comes with criticism. But knowledge is a powerful tool for change. Have you ever been in Emma's position, trying to do something good only to face mockery? Or perhaps you've had your mind changed about an environmental issue when you learned new information, like the shoppers in our story. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button. It's free for you but helps us tremendously in bringing more meaningful stories to listeners worldwide. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, small actions can make a big difference. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in our next story.